Welcome to Redvee TV's preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season, as we look ahead to the round 13 derby clash against the Wigan Warriors this Tuesday evening at the AJ Bell Stadium in Salford. Kev, it's derby, I'd say it's derby week, but is it? It's derby couple of days?
None of that sentence sounded right. Tuesday, derby at the AJ Bell. It just doesn't sound right, does it? It doesn't sit right. Derby on a Tuesday night, on a school night. It needs must. I think that's the kindest thing I could say.
Yeah, and that's the thing with James Graham. It's all right him doing it in the NRL, but can he do it on a wet Tuesday night at Salford?
Yes. He's done it before, he'll do it again. Yeah.
Obviously, the disappointments of last week, I'd say it's still fresh in the mind, but it's just this it doesn't seem real, does it? Maybe it's because we weren't there, but it just seems like, oh, it's one of them, and then the semis this next weekend, and then the final going to be behind closed doors as well. It's just maybe it took the edge off the disappointments as much as I did want to win it.
Yeah, I think it's like I don't know, like a little niggly, annoying thing in the background that we lost. As I said on the preview show, as I said after the game, I wanted to win that semi-final. It had made for interesting squad selections this week, as we'll get on to in a bit. But yeah, listen, not being the does take the edge off it, unfortunately. And I see a lot of people on social media saying that even whether it be the football or the rugby or whatever, they're kind of drifting a little bit away from sport because it's not the same that you can't go.
Yeah, and for me, I suppose that's a little bit this week. Obviously, the way the fixtures are and Wigan being in that semi-final next weekend, and we are going to get onto the squads in a bit, but they've obviously left a lot of players out. Does it detract from the importance of this game? With having not played Wigan at all this season so far, this should be one of the pinnacles of the year. Unfortunately, it seems to have been essentially relegated to a contractual obligation on Wigan's part, where if they could just hand the points over now and not play the game, you'd have to say they probably would.
They probably would, and I don't blame them for naming the squad that they have. When we get round to it, I genuinely don't. I'd hope we'd have done the same. And listen, stranger things have happened. They've happened in the past. 18th of April 2003, etched in many, many Saints fans' minds. But yeah, with the semi-final 3 days after such a could be intense game, as you say, it's almost like Wigan. Don't get me wrong, Wigan will be going out there to win. But you really, really can't blame them with putting together a little bit of a scratch squad, can you?
No, and to be fair, you're completely right. If we were playing in that semi-final next weekend, well, we wouldn't be playing, but we'd be in the halves ourselves on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I might get. I don't think I could last 80 minutes in the halves. I'll do 5 minutes hiding on the wing somewhere. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, you'd be looking into your, like Wigan's biggest squad number they've called up for Tuesday is 40, and you'd be looking at something similar for Saints, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I've just noticed your sign in the background. P. Wingers. You could misread it if the Wigan Wingers went to Chippy, it'd be P. Wingers.
Oh no!
Oh.
I had to come up with something for up there. It was the first thing I thought of. The horribleness of P wet.
P wet on Babby's head.
Yeah, Babby's head and P wet.
Right, let's have a look at the squads anyway.
Yeah. Well, Saints squad-wise, Saints have called up Matty Costello and Joe Batchelor. Obviously, Mark Percival missing out, and Jack Ash is the other one who's missed out, as you can see on the screen there. With Percival, again, after the game, saw a lot of people saying, I don't know why it was risked, but the club have said he could have played the week or two before. I don't think that was a risk. I think Percival's got an injury there that he needs a big chunk of time off and needs specialist treatment for. And I think if we'd have left him out even for if we'd have left him out till this week, he'd have probably broken down in this Wigan game.
Yeah,
I think it's something that he potentially might need surgery on. I don't know, but it's if Saints have kept him back, that then kind of negates the risk that people think we've taken with him. And as I say, Batchelor's come in place of Ashworth. I don't know whether that's another knock or whether it's a case of, right, can we, because we kind of have an inkling of what Wigan's squad was going to be, we could put somebody like Batchelor in and get him some more minutes. I don't know.
Is this the week then that we finally get to see Lewis Dodd in a Saints shirt? Perfect opportunity, given obviously Wigan rotating players, so it'll be players that Lewis Dodd will have been used to facing a lot in the academy and the reserves. So do you chuck him in this week and potentially either give Johnny Lomax or Theo a rest, or do you potentially leave James Roby out and start Aaron Smith at 9 and put Theo on the bench?
You see, I'm not sure what Wolf will do here, because he keeps saying that he wants to play his strongest team until the fixtures start coming really thick and fast. He's still named a strong squad. He's not named like a couple of youngsters in there, and you think, like, if you've got, I don't know, like Callum Hazard or Nisbet or Roselli or people like that in there, and you think, hang on a minute, we could be throwing like a couple he figures out to restart.
Yeah,
he almost needs. Oh, sorry, there's not much I can do about it. It's attack-wise, I think it's whether he wants to kind of break up that 6 and 7 partnership and see if we're a little bit more fluid with someone else in the halves. I think there's been quite a few, again, looking at social media, people moaning about our attack. We're still the most important of the top 3 attacks since lockdown, the restart. I don't think there's an awful lot wrong there. I just think the past couple of games have been a bit clunky. Don't get me wrong, yes, we lost the Warrington game and we weren't great in attack. That's going to happen sometimes, and you've got to find ways to win them games, even if you're not at 100%. So there's an opportunity there for him to kind of have a little look and hope that Wigan don't, as I say, April 18th, 2003, 10 of Wigan's 17-man squad were 21 and younger, 4 debuts, one of them from Oral Rugby Union. Horrible, horrible day etched into our minds. 10 points clear at half-time. I'm not bitter or anything, not holding on to that. But
bouncing down there, I think we were in the Soccer Dome before that.
Yeah.
Bouncing down, we're going to win easily. Worst derby ever.
Yeah, and that's it. And I don't think necessarily like Wolf needs the win, but imagine if we don't win this game after losing that cup game. I think certain sections of social media and our fan base will be asking serious questions after it.
They will. I know you talked earlier of, say, like Callum Hazard not getting in the squad and given a chance, but I think with Lewis Dodd, with him being in that 21 every week, he's there and thereabouts, isn't he? So yeah. I think at some point we need to see him in action to give him some game time and to know that I'll give him that experience in case we get an injury in the halves. So hopefully with this week being a win that we should be getting, given the strength of Wigan's side, for me, I think you chuck him straight in.
Again, it wouldn't surprise me. Almost like you're saying about maybe James Roby having a week off, or one of the halfbacks. It might be the time to give one of you, whether it be Lomax or Roby, somebody like that, a little bit of a rest. I'm sure they won't want to miss this game. They'd rather miss one further down the line that isn't as important as a Saints-Wigan derby. But yeah, you're right. It's once your players are starting to get 30 and over, you might just want to take them out and give them a little bit more of a rest and kind of see how your youngsters, because that's what Saints are based on, bringing youngsters through, having that good mix of youth and experience. You'll only see how well they're going to do by dropping them in when you need to. Look at Josh Sim. He's probably going to come straight back in for Mark Percival. He's done well. So you've then got to take that plunge with Lewis Dodd, and I'm sure we'll see. If it's not on Tuesday, I'd say inside the next couple of weeks, we're going to see, like the next couple of games, even 1 or 2 games, we will see Lewis Dodd actually start for Saints.
Is it safe to say that you're not going to see much of Joseph Paolo again in a Saints jersey? He seems to be like the forgotten man at the moment.
He does, and you don't hear anything about why that is. If he's just not training well, if he's I don't know, if he's still injured. I still think he would have a part to play, because I think that we're going to, again, when the games start coming properly thick and fast, you're going to have to utilise all your squad. And I know, listen, I'm not saying that whether it's the likes of Callum Hazard, Tom Nisbet, Nico Rizzelli, people like that, have to have games. But yeah, you'd almost think with the likes of Joe Paolo being kind of so experienced that he will come in. But it's just weird that he's never named in that 21-man squad, isn't it?
Yeah, very. Okay, we'll move on to the Wigan squad. It looks like a collection of raffle winners on the whole.
Oh, you've said that now, haven't you?
I want to pronounce this right, so I wouldn't like to get it wrong. Umila Hanley, is that right?
I'll take your word for it.
Any relation of Ellery?
I've seen somebody say that it's his lad on the bench. I'm not up with the Wigan reserves or youth squad. No offence, I have no interest in them whatsoever. I only have interest in the 17 that'll take the pitch against us. Could care less about
Wigan. You know what? You know you're getting old and the players are getting younger when you see a couple of Harrys in the squad, a couple of Jakes, a couple of Joes, a Kai. We're old, Kev. Where's the Daves and the Pauls and the Peters?
Well, you say that, and then I'm sure a load of our older viewers will be saying, well, what about Harry Pinner? What about the likes of Joe Lydon? What was the other name he said?
Well, but what I'm saying is it's names that are coming back round again, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Old traditional names. You can tell, obviously, what was in trend 20 years ago. But yeah, do you know what? Listen, if you're good enough to be named in a Wigan squad, then you're always going to pose a threat, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. If we go and take these two lightly, then we could end up just finding ourselves in deep weeds here. You've got to go out. You've got to be professional. Listen, we should put 40, 50 points on them. We should. But that's not how rugby league works. That's not how it works.
I think we need to win the energy battle, because these are young lads who are going to be full of it. They'll probably have been told for a few weeks that if Wigan got to that semi-final, that they would all be getting a game on Tuesday. So they'll have been training for this for a while, I reckon.
You're right. They've got, and they're going to want to prove something. And that's it. As I say, you see a squad that has from number 27 up to number 40, and really should be, as I say, you should be thinking, right, we're gonna do a number on these. But it's not how rugby works. I keep mentioning that 2003 game. We should have done a number on them. It didn't happen. We've got to go out there. We've got to be professional, and we've got to hope our attack clicks. Defensively, we're still all right. Attacking, we are still all right. But it just seems to be dipping a little bit. And once that kind of quick play the ball doesn't happen for us, we need a plan B there sometimes, because I feel like we get kind of stuck in a same old. I'm not bagging them too much because we're still winning games, cup game aside. We're still unbeaten in Super League since we've resumed, but you just want to see a little bit more of the attack clicking. And as I say, then we should win the game, and we should get our however many percent it is.
I'd love to see a stat, Kev, of the highest aggregate set of squad numbers named in time. Look at that. Wigan have only got from numbers 1 to 13, 3 in it.
Yeah.
All high number players. The higher they get, the worse they get. 31, not very good.
You've said that now. He'll run the show. He'll run the show now.
You think he's playing back at Salford, won't he? Being at the AJ Bell. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, will Jackson Hastings play? I'd love to tell you what positions all them young lads play, but I couldn't. So
I think they'll still put in, obviously, a couple of they need a couple of experienced heads around, and I can't see too much in the way from the rest of what they've named that is experienced enough to play in the halves. Sam Powell's done a little bit. I think he had the squad number 7 a couple of years ago for these. But when it comes to experience, it's Shorrock's a half, I think. It's Harry Smith, I think, might be a half as well. But I'd guess that Hastings will play, because I don't think they want to demoralise the young lads as well. Yeah. I think they do need that experience around them.
It makes it very hard for Saints to have prepared for this week, doesn't it, in terms of prep video work? What do you watch? Do you watch Wigan's first team, or do you watch academy videos, essentially?
But it wouldn't surprise me if they don't play exactly the same way. And there's a structure that goes through. So the lads who come in, so if you're slotting in for Zach Hardacre, I mean, Bevan French is explosive, but so nobody's going to match his pace, you wouldn't think. But they'll all play in a structured way. They'll all play in kind of the same way. You'd imagine that would be the way you bring it through. Otherwise, if you bring someone in and you're passing it all about, throwing it about from the academy, but then it's a little bit more structured in Super League, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Okay, onto the league table then, Kev. If we win, it's a big 23%? 0.23%?
0.23 it'll be, I'd imagine.
It's a big 0.23 for us, isn't it? And Wigan, and it'd be a big 0.58 for Wigan to lose.
Well, that's it. The main thing is with these percentages, you win a game against one of your rivals, you also knock them down by a couple of percent, don't you?
Yeah.
It does become key.
Is it a case of, Kev, if we get through all of the games and everybody's played an equal amount, I think Siri just wants to join in then. I don't know whether he'll pick that up in the video, but it was asking the internet for it.
Was it?
There we go.
I wondered what was going on.
So did I. But yeah, if everybody's played an equal amount of games at the end of the season, do we resort back to showing it as points then? Because obviously percentages won't have been an issue.
I don't know I genuinely don't know what the idea is, whether we stick with it now because it's been brought in. I think there's been a couple of people saying on Twitter and the likes, if we're going on percentages, why aren't the Toronto games included? I can give you the reason, because they've already expunged everything. They've already made a decision on it. But people are saying, well, if teams have won against them and we're going on percentages rather than points, then it's why aren't they included?
Quite right. So Tuesday night then, can't wait. It's hard to get excited for it. I don't know why. And do you know what? As football fans, we're so used to games being played midweek anyway. It just doesn't feel right. It feels like it's a game that's been shoehorned in. Obviously important for us in terms of getting the percentage points on the board. But I don't know. Is it starting to bite a little bit now with fans not being in the ground? And maybe it's been a little bit demoralising over the last week. I think there's always been the hope that fans would be back in October. And I think we're looking at it now. And I think on the whole, we're expecting that there'll be no fans there for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and it's worrying for rugby league, that, I think, because clubs are going to want to start selling season tickets soon. And how do you sell a season ticket to someone if you don't know how many games you're going to be in next year, let alone this year?
And do you know what,
yeah,
Kev? As much as you're right, as much as you want fans to support the club, it's if the club have already got the money, you can say, yeah, fair enough. They need that income to stay in the club. But it's very hard to ask someone to part with the money with no guarantee that they're going to see any of it.
Yeah, that's it. And we, as people will know from videos over the years, we like a day out round Wigan as well. When we have a derby game, missing that this year, I think, as you say, it does dampen down the enthusiasm. It's a derby on a Tuesday night, where the majority of people will probably be in work on Wednesday. So it's not one that you're going to go and, I don't know, take a Friday afternoon off from work, or we go Friday just be off because it's a bank holiday. And it does dampen your enthusiasm. And the quicker that we can get back into grounds and the case is put forward that it is safe to go in. You look at scenes from like Liverpool over the weekend when they kicked out at 10 o'clock and there's loads of people congregating and still boozing in the streets of Liverpool. And you think, well, how's it safe to go to a pub if that's going to happen? Or into a city if that's going to happen on a Saturday night? Yet you can have 1,000 people in a stadium that holds 15, 20,000 and you're going to be kept apart. And the worry is that of the mingling before and after. Well, I'm sorry, the government has said that it's British common sense. You can't then take that out of Britain's hands. You can't turn around and say, well, we're trusting you to use your common sense, and then go, no, we don't think you will. I mean, to be fair, look at that video of Liverpool. People haven't used common sense.
If you allow places to do that and people to congregate in that way, but as you say, in a stadium, Wigan fans have shown for 20 years that they're able to socially distance inside a stadium. Remove the booze, have no alcohol on sale in the ground. People would stick in open seating areas, and people would stay in the seats that they're allocated to. It'd be stewarded, and you could say, right, you have to leave in specific blocks when you're told to go, and you would go straight out the ground. And for me, I don't see why that couldn't work.
Well, they did at Saints a couple of years ago. I don't know if they still do it, where you can get food and drink delivered to your seat. So if they're doing basics, whether it be pies, cups of tea, whatever, you've only got a couple of options. You can have it delivered to your seat, so you're minimising the risk of people going round. And you've got one-way systems and whatever. Listen, for me, it's just worrying. It's worrying for the future of rugby league, because if it carries on and carries on and carries on, you're going to see clubs go out of business. You're going to see the sport drop into part-time, and you may end up with 3 or 4 full-time clubs, the rest part-time. I'm sorry, if you've got 3 or 4 full-time clubs and the rest are part-time, you're going to see, as we are doing now, the same winners over and over and over again.
And I think we're going to see, unfortunately, a lot of job cuts across the country. People are going to be able to work. It's going to have a big knock-on effect economically. Yeah. That said, we are in the middle of a pandemic, and people's health comes first. So it basically comes down to people obeying the rules, getting that R rate down. And once people realise that if they want to have nice things, they've got to do what they're told to do. And fingers crossed, hopefully in the new year, we might end up with a vaccine and we can all be back to grounds. But it's just a little bit depressing at the minute, isn't it?
Depressing.
Yeah. Right, I think we're done and dusted. We will catch you on Tuesday evening for a instant fan reaction, hopefully following a Saints derby win. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you during the week.